flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Morning all.
Morning.
Just FYI, that is the sun.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna get real warm, but I guess it beats what we've had, so. Look for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second. Motion and second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. Motion for the minutes for 10-8.
So moved.
Motion and a
I'll second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. General public concerns? Seeing none?
I got just a little bit of input.
Sure.
Can I do that?
Yeah.
Sure.
Fellas, we got a great project going on up there. They're supposed to be starting today, but I just think when it was engineered that some of these problems should have been brought up before with the intakes. Somebody should have had some input on that, because now all of a sudden, nobody quite knows what's going on for sure. Are you guys up to speed what's going on here? Because he never put any intakes on that big tile. Now they gotta come in and special order this stuff. This all should have been done prior, before the bid even.
Are you talking like, wasn't it up by the ditch, or up in that one ditch where he says,
I'm talking through everybody's fields.
Oh.
This all should have been,
I think it was brought to the attention that they should have had Ts put in 4 tiles to hook up
yes,
to.
but that should have been done before, or met with us people that are out there before it was ever let.
You know what,
In my opinion, would have saved a
David,
lot of problems.
you're absolutely correct, but given the fact that it wasn't previous,
Mhm.
we discussed it, and there is gonna be 3 drainage district intakes as part of the project. That is a project cost, and then the landowners that specify or request a, connection into the main tile, for whether it's for an intake or for future tiling, then that will be installed at the district cost, the connection, not the intake or the tile, but the connection. And I know David is 100% right, that should have been discussed prior and put in the plans of the project.
But see, here's the thing though, they're putting in 3, he said. That isn't near enough in there, fellas. I
No.
mean, right north of my place, there's water standing for 2 miles long.
But remember what I said, the landowner can sit down and say, I need a connection here, I will put in an intake. The
I understand
district,
that, Eric, but
right.
it should have been done in the bid.
I know, I said, it should've, but it wasn't, so now we have to make sure that before this thing gets up and running and chewing across the, ground and putting the tile in, that it's done correctly. So we're doing the best that we can. That's the protocol, and we discussed it last week.
Yeah. Because I didn't know this until just, Gary Peterson called me and we talked about it, and I got my blueprints I got out again. And I thought there was an intake at the very end of this tile, right next to my fence, and there's not. So,
I think they were planning some subsurface intakes.
yeah, I know that,
They
Rick,
were
but
planned.
when that water's 3 feet deep out there, that's not
Sufficient.
Well-
even close.
They are in the plan, and they're gonna
Yeah.
be maintained in the plan.
But let's
Yeah.
take those out and trade them for regular.
Well,
I know what you're saying.
I mean, I said, my premise is, I agree that this, should have been at the outset of the planning. But the good thing of it is, they haven't started on it yet, and we're gonna have it correct moving forward and get the ability to have these intakes installed in the tile line.
Yeah, 'cause this isn't something you just cut in this big tile. It takes a special piece to go in there.
that was part of the reason why they wanted to do the change, right?
Yeah.
That's
So we
right.
didn't have
People cutting into
cutting
it.
into it and then not knowing, and that's what
Sealed
I asked
properly.
was, make sure those are GPS so that we all know where they're at, as opposed to, well, we think it's within this 5-foot area and we dig and
Yeah.
try and find it.
For 500 feet.
Well,
And, I'm not gonna say it's not all our fault, but farmers all sat through for 6 months of meetings on this project, and had plenty of time to bring up the fact of intakes,
Uh-huh,
so.
yeah.
Yeah. That's right, it isn't like that, no one was, this isn't a surprise to anybody, this
Probably
project.
normal year, we'd been all right, but this,
This is something that's needed, even on a regular.
Yeah, it does.
So we're
It's
trying
kinda
to-
like our 35C out here. We had an intake there.
That wasn't in the plan.
It wasn't in the plan.
Uh-huh.
I sometimes think these engineers design these projects to try to keep the water as clean as possible coming into these tiles, and that's your subsurface drain.
Yeah.
You know, they're taught that, to do it that way, but it's a nice thought, but it doesn't work that great sometimes.
But anyway, they were gonna start today, I think, maybe.
They got 2 week, or, sounds like we got 2 weeks of maybe dry weather, so.
Oh, I hope so.
We'll hold you to that.
A lot of dry.
That would make a lot of,
Okay, that's...
anything else?
No, fellas, and I appreciate you for letting me talk about this here,
Yeah.
so we just...
It's
wanna-
duly noted and in the works, so,
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
that's why that map's hanging on the wall there.
yes, it is.
Uh-huh, okay.
All righty, thank you.
Yeah, thanks, fellas.
Thanks, David.
Thanks, Dave.
If you want another intake, put it on there.
Yeah, well, it's not my property, so I can't do that.
You can put them on the neighbors, but just, you don't have to pay for it. I didn't say that.
Yeah.
All right,
Well, Gary wants one there too, so it'll happen.
okay. Melanie?
Good morning.
Hello.
Morning.
you're gonna change the weather, right?
Oh, I wish. Although it was beautiful driving back this morning, driving in. I was contacted by Bruce last week, I believe it was, and, I was asked to give updates to the Board of Supervisors on, conditions. I will gladly do that. Some of the wording, I read the minutes from last time that you guys wanted a monthly report on my activities. Just to clarify, I am governed by the commission, and so that's the board that I report to. So if we can just kind of clarify the wording of it, I will give you guys updates, that's fine. But as far as my activities or my day-to-day, that is something that my commission governs, so.
I don't think anybody wants to know what you're doing. I think what we want to know is what's going on in our county. Is Bradgate underwater? Is
Yep, and that's what I'm
Fenwick
glad.
okay? Just kind of a report to us so we don't get blindsided by someone that calls and says, we got 4 foot of water going across Bradgate Main Street. I didn't know anything about it, unless you're driving around and looking for, I don't,
Conservation, they give us the minutes from their monthly meeting.
so I guess that was, we discussed that, and that would be doable?
We don't have monthly meetings.
Yeah, but just some info.
Yep, and I will gladly do that. The reason that I did go out to Bradgate originally was because early that morning, I had received a phone call from a citizen. On my caller ID, it was a 570, which is usually a Dodge cell phone number. And when he talked to me, he said it was a county tile that was broken. And from that conversation, I shouldn't assume, but I did, thinking that it was maybe down by the Bradgate, or the Badger area. That's kind of where I was thinking. So I had referred him on to either Trish or to Ben. He had called Trish, I guess, from there. Later that morning, I got a phone call from Trish, and she said, hey, have you had any news on Bradgate? That's when we started to put 2 and 2 together. It wasn't a county tile per se, it was the one in Bradgate. That's the only reason that I was called there. I really don't know, I'm not doing zoning anymore, so I really don't have authority the only authority the only thing that I can do is just what I see reported, and I'd reported it back to Trish. I believe Trish reached out to me.
Yeah, it was a drainage district tile issue in Bradgate, 'cause part of the drainage district tile goes through Bradgate. So,
Right.
yeah, we looked at it, had good discussion about it. Appreciate you going over and looking at it.
And that's
Got a
not a
couple
problem.
pictures.
I mean, I'm willing to do that and report back to you guys what I see, but that's all I can do is just let you all know.
Right.
There's not a lot of good communication or notifications to my department or to me, so that's why I do tour the county. I drive a lot. I go out and look at the roads. I look at, what I think. I watch the river totals very, very closely. I have secured 120 flood cleanup kits, so Right now, if we do take on water and people have water in their basements, I have those available. I purchased 3 loads of sand so far this year. I have roughly about 9,000 sandbags. And those are for, normally, it starts out that they are for infrastructure, for businesses, to protect our infrastructure, but they're for people. They're for, and I tour down off of West Fork, down by the river quite often, down by the golf course quite often. Those individuals know very well too that
Where
the
they can get
sandbags are available.
sandbags,
Right.
yeah.
They've reached out to me numerous times, and my search and rescue crew are amazing people, and they go and they fill sandbags and take them out there and help these individuals sandbag as well. Road closures at this time, I talked to Ben, and you're probably going to have to help me with 3.
Yeah, basically it's, Murray Bridge, Foreman Bridge, and I believe it's up on Divine right now, so it's the 3 that always flood. I think
And
they've
those
only
are the
been-
weather-related ones?
Yeah, they're on, I think, all total between the 3 of them, they've probably only been open about 4 weeks.
What was the third one again?
What'd I say, Murray, Foreman, and Divine.
Melanie, I happen to sit on board with A.J. Munn, manager from Polk County.
Mhm.
He gets his information all different ways. How do you know when there's flood going on? How do you find out?
The Flood Center, the National Weather Service. I have a app on my computer that I can bring up, and I can just watch it. It refreshes itself, so I can see in real time what the river total is. I can see what it's projected at, when it's going to crest. I was approached by Cassuth County EMA. They're wanting to put another sensor in. He has it, and I need to get with him on more of an exact placing of it, but I think I will be also on that application to put another sensor in. He believes that where he wants to put it, just over the border, will also help Humboldt County to have a clearer picture of what's coming down this way. So,
Munn tells me he gets a lot of good information from law enforcement. You get informed from law enforcement, something going on.
no.
Is there any way we can correct that?
Well, that will be a commission issue. February 2016, my commission voted on a list of things that I'm to be notified for, and right now, it still hasn't been given to the dispatch by the sheriff.
Munn says he gets a lot of his stuff from dispatch, and then he gets on TV and talks about it. You've seen
Yep.
him on television.
There's a little bit difference between Polk County and Humboldt County. Polk County has quite a staff.
Just a little is all. A little different.
He has a little bit of, quite a few
He finds
staff.
out the information somehow, though. That's why.
But he has a full staff in there that, you know, he has planning. He has the what do I want to say, exercise people, the training people.
Okay.
That's how they get their information.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Just thought I'd ask. Thank you.
And that's good. I'm in District 2. We have come up with also it's called a backup spreadsheet. So we were all able to name an EMA that would be our first. So say something hit Humboldt County. I work very close with Webster County, so I put Scott down. And my second would be Dave Penton and Cassuth. So if we had a major disaster, Scott would be the first one to call me and say, hey, Melody, what do you need? I could verbally tell him over the phone, this is what I need you to do for me, and I could take care of business here. If Webster County and Humboldt were impacted, then Dave would be my contact person. He would come down and he would do that. If both of those are, then I know I can call another one of my EMAs in the district. But to not self-deploy, because, you know, we're all type A people and we like to go help. And so, to limit that self-deployment thing, we came up with a spreadsheet. So, and we've already enacted that a few times, and that's worked very well. So that's another way that I keep in contact and I get information.
Scott's resigned, hasn't he?
Yes, he did.
That's what I heard last week.
Do you get called in to help the other counties? Have you been
Yes.
notified? You have to go to their help? So
I've
it's
gone to
reciprocal,
Floyd
isn't
twice,
it?
I've gone to Cerro Gordo, I've gone to Cassuth, and I've gone to Webster. But I don't self-deploy. I'll make a phone call, do you need anything? Or I'll send a text to them, because a lot of times, when, like in Floyd, when the floods were hitting, cell phones were, the lines were pretty tied up. It was easier to text. Her office is also in the courthouse. There's not very good cell reception unless you were sitting right by a window, and you had to have your phone like right over there. So texting kind of went through a little bit better than phone calls.
All right. What was last week, the question on, contact for calling on this, like a spill?
Oh,
Manure spill.
Manure spill?
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
I mean, I know that manure is not considered a hazardous.
We had that conversation, as well, and manure would be more of a DNR call, where if it's a semi that maybe has overturned, how it would go into a hazardous material would be are the saddle tanks, are they leaking fuel? Then we've got a hazard. I have a case, actually I've got two cases, the fire department's got a case, where they're called chem bales. And so we can put those down to try to contain it, contain whatever the chemical is in the water, to prevent it to getting into the culverts and the drainage ditches. I've done that, out of Bradgate, the Pilot, you have to help me with the name. Pilot Mound, is that the road that goes out?
Pilot Creek.
Thank you, whatever the road is. We had a semi loaded with the big round tailbase bales, and the curb came up, the corner came up too soon, and he still tried to take it, and he laid it on the side. At that point, we had the saddle tanks that were leaking, and we used the bales, the chem bales, to contain it there. There is a certain amount, so many gallons, that locally we can take care of a hazard spill, and then after that, for chemicals, then you're gonna call Region 5 hazmat. So fire department, the law enforcement, and myself, we can call Region 5 in.
Okay.
It is gonna cost the county. Now, you guys, I'm kind of a pass-through in my budget, so I pay the quarterly payments to Region 5 hazmat, but if they come on scene, then we are still gonna pay.
Give the bill.
Yep. There is a way to, I've done this once, there's a way to write back, and they can kind of, it's not really where they grant the money back to the county, but it's kind of they forgive the money, and you pay it, and then they pay it back. So there are some of those options. I've only had to do that one time. Luckily, we haven't had anything major that we've needed. I think this had to do with anhydrous or propane in tanks that was found out in the field, like a drug type deal. Manure spills, Ben and his crew,
We contacted you for manure spills.
right, they're very good about it. We've had a couple of times that I can
I
think
can
of.
think of two right off the top of my
Yeah.
head in the last 2-3 years.
Yeah.
Say we have a storm go through and tears down a bunch of houses in Pioneer, for example. How do you find out? You need some people down there to help out. How do you get your information?
That's where notification from law enforcement, from dispatch is critical for me. And then I have people on my search and rescue team. They're not just strictly search and rescue people, they do a lot of things. And so I have them, they live all over the county. Some of them are closer,
Okay.
so they can start damage
Okay.
assessment for me. Yeah. 2016, when the high winds hit Renwick, Kenny Borland was awesome. He was updating me, because he was down driving between Eagle Grove, Thor, that area, giving me reports on the Humboldt side of what damages he was found. I was pretty much in the middle of the mess in Renwick, and then I barely got north of Renwick, to that area, and Dave Penton came down out of Cassuth and helped me from that area down to do damage assessment at that time. So manure spills, you know, it's really a DNR call.
So
try to contain it and
basically,
manure.
if there's a manure spill, more so from a big manure hauling tank that missed the driveway or something and tipped
Yeah.
over, they're gonna call you, or probably
And
Ben,
then
and you're gonna call the DNR.
Well, yeah, my first question when I get a call is, have you called DNR yet? That's always gonna be my first question. I'm kind of that driver that makes sure that DNR gets called. I don't know if that's a popular job or not, but that's part of my duty. The one I can remember was Ben called me and said, well, there's manure spilling down a driveway. I figured a little driveway, and it was a river of brown stuff coming down.
That was, Jay Edge's place.
But the bad thing was, we still had snow, and we were predicted to get more snow, and it had gone on the roadway, come up over an incline, and there you were on it. So that one was kind of...
That was freezing on the road.
Yeah.
It was running down the driveway, freezing on the road, and then running back into the ditch and doing intake, so.
Yeah.
All right, well, I guess that was
Hopefully
kind of
we won't
our,
have any, but we probably will.
Yeah.
We appreciate you coming in, you get something hot we need to know about, just let us know.
I will. And I just kind of wanted to explain, this book here is kind of the county Bible. It stands for Emergency Support Functions. So it's divided up into 15 different parts. So this is a part of my job is I write the county plan. So this here is a basic plan that's kind of the umbrella that covers them all, and then it's broke out. So, 1 is over transportation, 2 is communications, 3 is public works and engineering, 4 is firefighting, 5 is emergency management, 6 is mass care and human services, 7 is recourse, 8 is public health, 9 is search and rescue, 10 is hazardous materials, 11 is agriculture, 12 is energy, 13 is law enforcement, 14 is mitigation, and 15 is public information. The standard up till now has been where I, as an EMA, have been required to do 4 of these a year. 10 is always, since it's hazardous materials, that's every year. You yearly update that one. Then they pick 4. This year, they changed it up. State writes to FEMA for grant money for training, for all kinds of monies. A portion of that is for training for for hazard mitigation, which we just received the money for our latest hazard mitigation update, and that was, let's see, it was just okayed on the 6th, or on the 12th of September. So we are good for 5 years, but in 2.5 years, I'm going to be updating that again. This one was $30,000. It was a 22.5, 7,500 match. Going forward, I don't see us being able to write for this grant again. So in order for me to write my EMPG grant, my performance grant, we have to have a current hazard mitigation plan. So that's kind of the catch-22 on that. So when the state writes for monies, they base it on upcoming events or what they project to see we need to prepare everyone for emergencies. So now they've changed their line of thinking. We are still going to always do 10, but they're changing these up, and they've grouped the ESFs differently. I have 5 this year to do. And what I have to do is I not only have to go through it and make sure that it's current, I have to make sure that it is legal, it is with the CFRs, it is, I've got current people. I have whose agency is in charge of transportation, who's in communications. What I need to do is I need to sit down and work with these people. Okay, this is what we have in our county plan. Are you able to fulfill that duty as an entity or as a group? What do you need changed? Last year I sat down with the vets for agriculture and worked with them. What's your capabilities? You know, if we have a large truck turnover with animals, are you able to come out and help? We have a large storm. We have a disaster. And now, after Katrina, it is federally mandated that if I open up a shelter, I'm going to have a shelter for animals as well.
Don't bring that up right now.
Well, I'm just
Let's not go
saying,
there.
no, but I'm saying that grandma's not gonna leave Fifi at home, or grandma's not gonna leave home unless she can bring Fifi with her. So, we have to have a separate shelter, we have to have that space for them if I enact one of these ESFs. If I enact them, I have to make sure, and I have to follow them through the T. Because after the fact, FEMA's gonna come in here and they're gonna look at me and go, okay, where's your plan? Which ones did you enact? Which ones did you activate? And I'm gonna have to show them which ESFs I activated for this county, and did we follow those to the T?
If we don't have a plan, we don't get FEMA money, is that what you're saying?
Pardon?
If we don't have a plan updated, we don't get any FEMA money?
We'll get some, but I'm not gonna get my grant. I'm not gonna get my MPG grant.
Well, so
So-
basically, you have this plan and you stay in contact with the different entities.
I try to stay in contact with the different entities when I work on this. I'll be honest, I don't get a lot of good feedback.
Okay.
So it's hard for me to write a comprehensive or a very good plan for our county when I don't have feedback from these entities on what's your capability.
Well, I think plans are great, especially FEMA, that's all the government business, but I think the communication is probably key,
It is.
so
And that's
hopefully we
why
can see some improvement there, because, you know, grants or no grants, if something does happen from a nurse bill to a natural disaster, everybody should be on the same page.
Right.
So that would be good to
And-
do that.
Part of my budget is, I have bought water for Livermore, I've bought water for Renwick, I've bought water for Hardy during all of their boil events, their problems with their water towers. I bought 3 loads of sand for the community. So, I have a line item in my budget that's for disaster, and that's where that money goes. Now, if I can go a year and I have monies left over in my budget, that doesn't go back to the general, but that is monies that I have so that if we have a disaster, I have something to help us
Mhm.
get through, to take pressure off of you guys, because you guys are gonna be my fiscal and my EOC when we have a major event. You guys are gonna be making the decision, what are we spending our money on? I'm gonna be working with you guys. What do you need? What can I get from state? What can I get from FEMA? So it's not gonna cost our county money. And then what are you guys willing to write the check for?
Do you, I know you don't have scheduled monthly, or I don't even know scheduled period, meetings with the Emergency Management Board?
My commission, yeah.
Yeah, well, that is the board, but, do you, when you do get together, do you relay this information to them so they understand it? Because they are the board that, you know, you work with.
Mhm.
Yeah, the money comes from the county, a lot of it, on some of these things that may happen, but I'm just curious if you sit down and
I,
try to make sure that they understand, because that's their responsibility as that board to help, you know, work through all of the, you know, emergency management planning things.
there's a lot of education that I try to do at my commission meetings. I feel like a lot of it goes over here because the mayors, some of it, it's just a title.
Right, well, question,
But
I could, you know...
But to get them to buy into 100% of what's going on, I don't think they get it.
Do you think that it would...
They don't, and it's hard to plan for what ifs.
Right, but just...
It ain't gonna happen.
The explanation of it, and then for what
Exactly.
if, do you think it would be helpful to have more regularly scheduled meetings with the Emergency Management Board?
I can try that. I tried that my first year, and I got a lot of pushback because I don't have time for this.
Well, they are on that, it is, I mean, we have things outside of, you know, the supervisor's room that we're tasked to go to. You can ask any one of us what that is. Some are probably better, some are worse, but there's some that have a great deal of importance to bring back to the county that each of us deal with. I would say the same thing for the mayors on your board. That's a very important responsibility. So I'm just saying that it appears to me that, you know, all this great information would be best to have a little bit more often scheduled meetings for them to get and have their mind around.
That's absolutely right. You hit it right on the nail on the
Well,
head. But trying to schedule a meeting and get attendance, that's my next thing.
Well, I think we'd be highly encouraging of the mayors and the people on that board to attend those meetings. So,
Going forward, what I would like is everyone to play well in the sand together better. I would like to see more unity in this county. This county's amazing. We have so much we can do, but we've got to learn to talk and work together. And that's where it needs to start.
maybe, yeah, just, like I said, I agree with that 100%, and maybe starting with more frequent meetings, so that it's that board, it's an important,
It is, it's a very important.
extra responsibility for those folks, and, well, that would be good, that might help the overall communication, and I think Bruce's request was, we just like to know if there's anything in particular that's been going on, and I would say, doesn't need to be, wait till this time of this month, but if something is flooding, or it has even manure spill, or something a bit on the catastrophic side, that you let us know right away, because we may or may not know about it. Is that about kind of where you were at? We weren't, you know...
Trying to stay on the same page, I guess, so
Bingo.
we know what's going on. There's nothing worse than Nathan will say, "Hey, what's going on?" And haven't heard a word. So, I guess that was our whole purpose for this thing.
Okay.
We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
If we can help, let us know. Okay.
Well, here's a guy that used to never get on the agenda when it's scheduled.
I should put myself down for 2 separate times. Show up for a second.
Just look at it and put down for a half hour later, and you'll be pretty close.
You're closer than you were last week.
15 minutes is better than an hour.
Yeah, it's not too bad this time.
When you come dressed up, we can get you up quicker.
That's right.
Is that what it is?
Hey, if you got an agenda next week, wear a tie, I'll bet you get a lot closer.
I'll have to go rent one.
Well, we're kidding, but...
Oh, well.
Remember the days when we all wore ties in here?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Not that long ago.
Yeah, Bruce, we're gonna take you shopping.
I have ties, but I don't like stuff around my neck,
Yeah.
that's why I usually have an open.
Rick, you remember that?
Alrighty.
Got a couple, applications to work in the right-of-way, for today. The first one is for Midland Power. This is to bury an overhead wire, so they'll be doing some boring in the right-of-way. This is down at, Les Bacon's place on Juniper.
This north of, C-49?
Yes.
They're doing that today?
I don't know. Are they there right now?
I don't know. I'm
It might be a little-
out of there, and that's a touchy road the way it is.
West-
I'd assume not, just
Okay.
because Midland
We'll have it
usually
done
waits
today.
Until
Yeah.
Good.
they get the permit before they start the works.
Not that I'm
Yeah.
looking for
Theoretically, they're
favoritism,
supposed
but
to
just
have
trying to
to
find a
permit before
road
they do the work.
is hard.
Maybe
Yeah.
by the end of the week.
I'll make a motion
We
for
have a
Midland Power.
motion.
Second, Rick's motion.
Motion and a second, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Pose same sign, motion carries.
The second application that I have is application for construction in the county right-of-way for Mark Olson. This is to install a 12-inch tile main on Hawaii Avenue between 140th and 150th Street. And he is also requesting the $1,500 reimbursement from the county.
Do we need to go across the road?
He needs to, he owns both sides of the road, and basically he's connecting, tile to the west side. He's pattern tiling his west field, and his only outlet is to the east through his other property, so. Right now, he's got an undersized tile that does it, and he's looking at upgrading, so.
Oh, okay.
Make a motion to approve the crossing.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second, any more discussion? Did you have something, Carl?
No, I was gonna say, we don't have much choice in the policy we have.
Well, that's fine. No discussion on that, but we were talking on this other one. Theoretically, technically, any work, right-of-way, road crossing, any of this stuff we're looking at, they are supposed to have the permit prior to doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, we're pretty good.
Yes.
Occasionally, we have a little,
We sometimes do some retroactive permitting when the weather's a big issue.
Right, I mean, we have, agreed it ahead of time if the weather's coming in before we come in to do the permit.
but it is really nice to have it
There
ahead
have
of.
been some people that have done things in the right of way that, they
Been
didn't
asked
ask
for.
permit for, yeah.
Preferably, so I'll just point that it is good to follow the procedure and have a permit ahead of time like this, so that's why it's a permitting process.
Right.
It's good to follow the process.
And any work in the county right of way requires a permit.
Yes, and get it, that means ahead of time, not after you
Ahead
do
of
it.
time, not
That
after,
means, just a
yes.
point of clarification for
Yes.
folks.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Pose same sign, motion carries.
The last application that I have is, for our, snowmobiling friends to run the trail groomer in the secondary road right away for the 2018-2019 snowmobile season, which apparently started yesterday.
Same contract as last year.
Same contract as last year, yep. They did get a newer, lighter snow groomer from the sound of things.
Hope they don't get to use it.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't wanna be mean to people with snowmobiles, but I actually hope they have to make the trip to Wisconsin to ride the snowmobile.
Yesterday was supposed to be a light dusting, and, I think we ended up with more than that, but...
I move the application, allow the groomers to work as a right of way.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carried.
Other than that, we started crack filling this morning, on County K up by Livermore, heading south. Rognus Brothers are working on the pipe north of Hardy, and I believe they're gonna start, they're gonna start damming it up and excavating today, and, hopefully start setting box north of Hardy on the blacktop. Yep. So
I thought they've had their road closed for quite a while already.
Well, not,
we closed it, I think last week,
then it rained.
and then it rained.
About the size of it.
Up there.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, say they've got all the barrel sections sitting there right now, so. But the water, I mean, with all the rain that we got, the water got up to like 5.5, 6 feet deep, so. they-
It's hard to work in that.
Yeah.
What's their distance or whatever on the crack filling? I see that they were right staging all their stuff right around Livermore.
They're running all the way down County K, all the way to us, then they're running from the outskirts of, the city of Hardy south to Highway 3. They also have, P-56 from Highway 3 south up Alverdine Hill and further south on Lone Tree, so. I think that's
All blacktop service.
All blacktop service, and then, Berkmer Road is the other one.
Okay, well, got a pretty good looking week here, so
Yeah, I'd say for the next 2 weeks, it looks like it's supposed to be pretty good,
should work pretty good for crack filling and hopefully everything else.
and hopefully we can get some temperatures.
Any word on the bridge replacement?
I have not, the guy that usually comes and does it, I'm told he's heading to, a DOT job after that, so it'll be their second crew, which is up by Laverne right now, working somewhere. Sounds like the DOT is planning on pouring concrete on Friday on the bridge on Highway 3.
Okay, it looks like they're making progress out there.
Yep. What else? We're mixing sand right now. Today and tomorrow, we're gonna be mixing sand and filling bunkers, so.
Good, I hope that sits there till this time next year too.
Yeah, I'd say hopefully it's still sitting full come March, but.
Good stuff.
Okay, any other questions?
I do not.
Nope. Nope.
Okay.
Thank you, Mel.
Thanks, Dan.
Thank you.
Ben, while you're here, you any request to clean mud off the roads from combines?
We haven't.
Yeah.
I suspect that we will. We did send one one of my foremen out, I think it was 2 weekends ago, north of Hardy, to clean some off the road, but, yeah, so far we haven't.
Might have a fair amount of that this year on weekends and Saturdays and Sundays.
And hopefully not, I mean, hopefully we can limit it, and hopefully the farmers kind of
They try to do it
self-control
themselves.
themselves, you know, or show up with a skid loader from being an
I think most of them, that's their protocol, but yeah, what was your thought too, if the road just gets boogered up? I mean, we're talking past just a little bit of mud.
Yeah,
Really
I mean,
close
yeah, I mean,
just like,
Several months.
right now, 190th Street west of 169 is closed. That's where all the trucks have been unloading pipe for, that 35 drainage C or whatever.
Mhm.
So, there's no point in us rocking that road right now when they haven't gotten across it. So
Yeah.
they'll continue to tear it up.
okay.
But we'll blade it to maintain it as best we can.
When we get done tearing it up, then you fix it up.
Yeah, already talked to Danny about it. There's no point in rocking it when they're just gonna keep tearing it up, so.
Okay,
All right.
Alrighty.
look for a motion to go to drainage.
Make a motion.
When you pay out the road?
No, she doesn't think we're gonna have enough time, they're already
Okay.
15 late.
Yeah.
She'll come back.
You make a motion, Dave?
I made a
We
motion.
have a
I'll second that.
motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Pose same sign, we're now in drainage. That's what I was whispering. If she had,
Okay.
if she thought we had time, she goes, I don't think so, we're already late, so. You can come back then.
Anybody in the gallery like some coffee? Kent, are you awake today, or are you meeting?
Sort of.
Here, I'll give you.
I'll take a cup.
Yeah.
You got extra?
I think we do.
Thank you.
Nathan, listened to the other night, I pull up that football game. You
Well,
get-
I was,
You get kind of excited.
I was very excited. I about went in the ditch, I was on my way home from Mason City, my grandson played up there, and I, just outside of Clear Lake, I could just hear so then I'm trying it on my phone, and I thought, oh, I'm gonna end up in the ditch here,
Right.
so then I stopped and got you on the phone to...
Was that a Hartlaw working with you?
Yeah, he's really good. So, he's been good to have in the booth.
Nick and
Ryan. Yeah, it was a fun game.
It wasn't a lot funner than the one I stood up and watched up there, 'cause that wasn't near
Mason City game?
as, Newman and St. Ansgar.
Morning, Rick.
Morning.
They kinda mauled
Yes.
Carol.
Good shirt.
It was fun.
Yeah, you were there?
So was Bruce.
Oh, it was fun.
Ooh.
Just
And
didn't
that's
like to
much
walk
fun to beat
afterwards.
Nebraska.
Yeah.
Were you a little froze up after that game in
After that
Mason
game,
City?
my legs were sore.
It's a little chilly.
Sitting in that, those seats aren't the best seats.
No, they're not, and it was cold.
Bob, did you get down
Sounds
to the
like
game?
it should have been Saturday at
Missed
Northwestern, they had a
We watched
down league.
Rick, can I ask you a quick, unrelated?
Yeah.
I gotta go, but I'm ready in the field.
Oh, yeah. And then
Thanks for
lots
getting
of
this.
overtime.
You bet.
So one of these seats
There's
left.
something that comes off separate.
Yeah, the other plan.
I don't have that.
I was too fat to get over.
Well, thanks, do I?
No, it'd be two of them, just like that.
That's kinda creepy.
You were there too, weren't you?
I don't know.
You went down the field.
No,
It goes
no.
up just past that.
goes a little ways.
No, I don't like that.
Well, we'll get it, if you're not gonna roll off right after we get
No.
done. And then, quick question too,
Come down toward the end of the game.
because I'm not a, you know, I don't wanna be.
Saturday.
Is this supposed to show if there was existing hookups?
It's supposed to, but it isn't.
That's my
Yeah.
biggest question.
Yeah, and there was
Yeah,
a...
that lighting.
Do you have that information?
Yeah.
Was it-
We didn't get it from them.
You what?
Yeah, that's what I thought, I mean, I don't, you don't have to.
No, that'd be great.
Colin did it.
Well, at one
Yes.
series, we
This
started
wasn't that
out
long.
with 10 and
Yeah,
ended
we
up
did
first
one
and
up
30.
Yeah.
This isn't that
Yeah.
long ago. How many times have we talked about the guess?
And
Somebody-
checked it out.
Yeah.
If any
Thank
connections?
you.
Yeah.
You know, like you wrote on here, but, okay, because there's only,
I was afraid that Smithfield Road was gonna come back.
yeah,
The old
shows this
name.
one
I know.
Yeah.
going into it. But
Yeah.
that's about it.
Yeah,
So Holland would be the best resource
yeah,
on that.
yes.
You don't have
Where do you
it.
see?
They didn't give
Where
anybody
you
a
sent?
record of it.
No. I'm hoping they have it in the files.
Okay. But you sent the additional.
Right around the corner.
Yeah. We'll get it.
Real
We'll get
live.
it. So that was my two questions, so I didn't forget.
Okay.
And then we'll have to
Off the southeast,
Southeast,
by
I'm
the
northwest.
Sioux Cup.
You were northwest.
I'm northwest,
I thought you were southwest.
northwest.
Oh, well.
You ever go
Yeah,
to
we're
the
by
football game?
so where we ended up.
Ohio State?
Yeah, I did January Saturday, but I had too much work.
I had too many clothes on.
I didn't then.
I'd stayed in the Sioux Cup building quite a while.
You, helping you
There
do
was a
something?
there was a table up there, and I just sat in there, and I couldn't get away from the, every time I go to watch,
Oh, that's great. That is, that's.
I saw the wrestling coach sitting out in the press box there, big city.
he ended up coming, and then he got commitment yesterday, big kid from Duke, big spot. He had 4 good kids in there. Okay, let's get started.
Yeah.
Looks like she has DD 4, pay estimate number 4.
Yeah, this is just to pay up the retainage. The project's actually been done a while. Haven't heard anything from people, or I assume everything's good out there, but we need to have you schedule a completion hearing. And Trish has tentatively looked at October 29th,
At
so.
9:30.
The retainage is there of $10,154.16. Yeah, everything got straightened out at the upper end of that. If you remember, there was some private tiling going on right at the end of the project. We believe that all got taken care of. There were questions on a couple of intakes that I think got taken care of. And, yeah, so now it's just a completion hearing.
So we have it, the DD 3 continuation, right? At
Yes, at 9.
9, no, is it 9?
I got 9 written down in my
Nine.
book.
What I had.
And
Well,
then
then we
10.
have a 10 o'clock joint meeting with Wright and Humboldt,
Mhm.
so then this is gonna be a half hour later. Is that gonna take a half hour with them? Okay,
But
I heard that.
9:30, right?
What are we looking at here for time then?
is it 9:30?
9:30?
That works for me.
I'd move-
I'm gonna be here, I
I
think.
move we schedule the completion hearing for 9:30 on October 29th for
Oh.
DD 4.
I'll second Carl's.
All right, we have a motion and a second for 9:30. Write it on here so I can forget it too. On the 29th.
Pay estimate?
Oh, yeah. You can keep that,
You sure?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
because I just made a copy from it from the file.
You didn't put that in the motion, did I?
Oh.
No, we jumped ahead of that, but that's fine, we can move back up and do the pay estimate.
Okay, we have the motion for the completion hearing at 9:30 on the 29th. Motion and a second, any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, 9:30 it is. Now we have the, approval of the pay estimates, the final pay estimates. And the number here is 10,154.16.
Rick, location on this was, just to refresh, was this Workman's?
Hardy,
South of Hardy.
just south of Hardy. Am
The,
I thinking right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they cleaned a bunch of open
Yeah.
ditch.
And
was it all ditch?
It was all ditch.
It was all ditch,
Tile outlets and things, but,
right?
and they did have like, can't remember
That
how.
was right by Worgland's, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Right up on
And we
the
did
curve.
some,
Like 300 and some feet of tile at the upper end because that was really bad. They had all kinds of holes in their field and
Right.
we.
Yeah, that did involve Workman's then, did it not? Is it the-
Yeah.
Is that the one, that tile that went
Yeah,
through
I believe
their
the
field?
tile was on their ground actually.
Right, and that, everything was Yeah, there was a little malfunction on that tile,
Yep,
because
yeah.
they started on it, didn't finish it, needed to go across the road, and... a little
Yeah,
bit
they
of
didn't
a-
wanna cross the road late, 'cause it frees up, and yeah, then they had to clean the pipe.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was all done to everybody's satisfaction.
It was, total was 101,541.58 total on that.
And we still will hold the...
Hold the retainage till...
The completion date.
All right, I'll make the motion for the pay estimate on number 4 for $10,154.16.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Pose same sign.
Find somewhere.
Just anywhere.
Kind of somewhere, yeah. So I can-
Motion carried.
I hate to strip it out.
Okay,
Thank you, sir.
We're catching up, Rick.
we are moving. DD number 6, lower main tile, discussion, action, reclassification adjustment.
Okay, we talked about this last week. There's a parcel way at the east end of sub 1, or sub 3, I think it's called, that was tiled the different direction. This lower main on those 5 parcels did not get adjusted properly, because of the extreme distance from the outlet, and they're just using the lower main, and the tiling in other direction, there should have been a bigger adjustment made. I've got tentative adjustments made here. It's all on the last page, and there's stars by the parcels. It's all on page 3 of 3.
Do we have previous discussion on this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, this is Christopher property?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, ends up there's 5 parcels.
Yeah, because they objected to it being annexed in, because the reason their tiles went the other direction, and when they did get annexed in, they said they'd get an adjustment.
Yeah.
This was when Rick was listening in from,
Mm-hmm.
was it an airport? Weren't you gone that meeting?
Hotel room,
Oh, okay.
yeah, that's it, hotel room.
Yeah, they're all on the last 3 of 3, and starting with the top one, and then you'll see the stars just to the left of the parcel numbers. Mhm.
And what percentage of adjustment was it?
Actually, it reduced it to 25% of the original, 25% reduction. It's typical, if they're tiled the other way, to give 50% reduction, and then because of the distance from the outlet, we knocked it down some more.
The increase to the others is negligible.
Oh, yeah,
Very
minor because of everybody involved, the number of acres involved. That's the positive thing of it.
Okay, and I'll make a motion for the adjustments in DD 6.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Adjustment on the DD number 6. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries.
Mr. President, you're ahead of time now. You really know nice work.
Somebody should appoint him chairman.
I think so.
Gotta wait. Patiently wait.
Okay. DD 33, branch D, at 9:25, so we are,
One time.
like, just ready to go. Authorize payment to Idell's, then we authorize a refund, so we can get this off of your desk and,
This is the IDELS one. It actually goes to the Treasurer State of Iowa
okay,
for
and
the
this,
request.
I'm not even sure if I remember how this went. This was over the closures,
Yeah, they
Where
think
there
that's
was
too
a-
much.
too much of a payment, so then it was found out, so then we had to adjust. And for the people that had paid, then they have to get their back. So the phone has been ringing off the hook for people thinking that this has been on the back burner, that we haven't, well, it all had to be checked. And then we ended up having the Anderson Company verify the numbers so that we all felt we were good. Took some time to do that, and that's what,
It all started from the reimbursement from IDEL, right?
right.
Hmm.
So,
So this money is all coming out of District 33, Branch D account, if you will,
Yeah, funds, yeah.
fund. Goes payment to IDELs that we're gonna authorize, so that, because that was over calculated.
Mhm.
And then at the same time, separate motion, the refund to the landowners because of the miscalculation actually by IDELs. And then that will square this away.
Hope so.
yes, because it just says return of refunds and supervisor signs. I don't have 75 grand if it
You don't?
comes back to me.
You didn't, yeah,
I
it's
know,
not your
I'm just
thing,
teasing.
it's not your thing.
All right, I'll make a motion to authorize payment to IDELs to start with.
All right, we have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. I'm free to sign that. Motion carries.
I would make the motion to authorize the refund to the landowners in that same District 33, Branch D.
Okay? And those were those numbers the ones that you put in front of us last week? Okay,
I'll need like 110 signatures.
that's good. We need looking for a second.
I'll second it.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Just that, obviously, that's pretty self-explanatory. They're gonna get the refund owed to them. There really was no interest accrued on anything, the refund. I just bringing this up, there's been concern.
Talk, asking,
Yes, concern. There is no accrued interest to credit back. There's nothing accrued on this.
No, our account doesn't gain interest.
So there's really no way to add anything other than their overpayment, if you will. That's the refund they're getting back. Secondly, the district, I guess this is the county to double check for the district. We have agreed to pay T.P. Anderson and Company for their work.
Yes,
yeah?
The county is paying that.
county's paying
The
that.
county is paying that. That was a means of double checking, because it was such a
The
conglomeration.
state had their figures, and we had our figures, and they didn't jive, so we wanted to make sure.
We wanted an independent third party,
To look at it.
T.P. Anderson and Company, so that was a double check, like Rick said. What's the other thing?
Well, the only way that there would be money in there to make an interest payment is if the account had excess money, and she keeps most of them at a bare minimum, just for repairs and whatnot. Once the account goes down, we levy, put money into it so that we can pay repairs or engineering or whatever the fees are. That's the only way that these things are
Right.
operated.
I'm just saying that this is, it's unfortunate, it took longer than we wanted, or would have liked,
Or hoped.
but the mistake was found, it was corrected, was verified corrected, and this is what we're gonna do, and I believe this is all we're required to do and all that we are going to do, and that should take care of this.
Yeah.
So, we have a motion and a second. And any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. Now, Trish and I talked on Friday, and I made the comment that there's possibly one or two that are away, like live out of state. Maybe we should send those, when we send those registered, you put a check in the mail, and the check gets lost, put it registered, they at least have to sign for it. Might cost an extra 50 cents to do it, but,
That's fine.
Mail, it's about $6.
oh, it is?
Certified mail.
Oh.
The return receipt is like $6.35.
Well, that's a lot more than I've done this, but,
Yeah. I don't know what you're talking about registered, but.
well, I guess I threw that.
Trish, is that something you mentioned to Bruce that you'd like to,
I
Oh, I
mentioned it
think-
to her.
or Bruce mentioned it to you?
Great idea.
Give them all.
There's no problem with that.
That way, at least they signed and they, you know, they got their envelope that,
That's perfectly a good idea.
that way we know, so.
Yep.
You want me to start signing these as we speak, or can I wait until we get done with this other stuff? I might need lunch to do that. These are double.
Yeah. Get me a writer's cramp.
Yeah.
That's what you get the big bucks for, being.
Yeah, there you go, all right. We have them two checked off. Looks like we are to DD number 2, lateral I, discussion and action and tile cost share. This was discussed last week. This is in reference to, I think we have, a bill here with a map here. This is over in the Gilmore area, right, Bob?
Yes, it is. It's half a mile south. Half a mile south of Highway 3, which is 220th on Birch Avenue, on the west side of the road.
We did get out there and put lath on the center line of where the pipe crosses.
I did see that. Never got a picture, but right, looking at it was worth more than a picture.
Yeah, yes, that's what I figured too. Part of the question is, was there a tile in the road ditch that was disturbed or missed? The note I made to myself was, that the project could have affected the groundwater movement. When we're going that deep, we're bound to affect the groundwater. So that becomes a question. Did the project cause that? Why is the water there? Two possible explanations: tile broken or affecting groundwater movement. And you're all aware that Bob did get tile put in. There's no standing water there now. A portion of the ditch looks a little wet yet, but no standing water. So yeah, it's a matter of, does the district participate in this tile, at least a portion of it? That's the question of the day.
Well, this is a nice bill, of course, but then the map, Bob, you know, 'cause you were out there and they did it. Can you explain, I'm trying to get a handle on the distance from the 14-inch tile, I believe, going to the east, you know, the little sub-main, little tile.
You have the colored map.
Yeah.
You start down the very bottom portion of that map. Almost off the map, there's a blue colored line.
Yep.
That blue colored line is a 14-inch concrete tile that my grandfather and father put in over 42 years ago, hooking on another half a mile south of there onto county tile. That's where the old county tile came up to. And my grandfather and father put this blue line all the way up to that gravel road with 14-inch concrete tile at that point in time. The red line that goes across Birch Avenue is your new tile line that's 24 feet deep that comes down to the middle of the page, and then one line goes back south to close the drainage well, and the other goes on the east side of that blue line, goes up to, clear up to Highway 3 eventually.
instead of hooking on 16 feet deep or more onto that new tile, we went back and hooked onto the 14-inch tile right there, right where the blue line and that red line almost crossed down there. We hooked onto that, ran 654.5 feet up toward Birch Avenue, turned the corner, and went 430 feet of 5-inch along the edge of the road, a 5-inch tile, to solve the original problem. I also then added 2 more laterals onto that 5-inch tile just to make sure we wouldn't have a problem.
So I guess my question is, so what is your length from the 14-inch tile going east to the road with your 5-inch tile?
It says on the map here 654.5.
Okay,
And another 430 we turned the lateral that went along the edge of the road.
okay.
That's where you come up with
That's where you
1,000.
come to 1,084.
Okay, so there you go, okay, now I got all my figures to add, okay.
Is that overkill? Maybe, I don't know.
Well, at least the discussion, I think we had last week, was that the outlet, which would be the 654.5 feet, is what was needed, you know, obviously, to drain the, you have 3, I guess you wanna call them the little laterals you hooked off of it. So, I'm just trying to clarify what the cost share from the district would be on. I look at it as 654.5 feet going up to those laterals, because that is the outlet. So if you want to section that much off, that's the outlet.
Okay, but if you wanna do that, you're not to the problem yet, because you're still on the south side of this new project, where this tile was put in. That 654.5 feet is on the south side of your new tile.
I think the way I look at this, I gotta look at it differently than we're looking at this from trustees of the district.
Yep.
We don't look at it as secondary roads,
Right.
because we're representing the trustees.
Sure.
This is a district issue, it's not a roads issue.
Okay, so what about it?
The way I look at it is, if you had 2 private landowners side by side, and this project went through the land, and the one landowner on the, say, the east side of the fence had a wet hole, and it, for some reason now it isn't working, should the district pay to fix that guy's wet hole? Because it leaches over into the other guy's field. That's my problem with it.
Okay.
Because there's no proof that there was a tile there.
So let's go out, dig the road up, and solve the problem. Let's go out, dig the road up, find out...
The road doesn't have a problem, though.
What happens if the tile was never hooked up when the construction person made the project go through?
All the tiles don't have to be hooked up if the landowner doesn't need it, is what there's an old abandoned tile.
When you put a new tile, whether it's a private tile or a regular tile, you put a new tile in, you hook up all the old existing tiles to that new tile.
Yeah.
This property was never done. In fact, we know that because the contractor said for the first mile, nothing was hooked up on this whole project for DD2. They had to go back and fix all that problem because the contractor was not doing his job. I think he didn't do his job in this case.
I believe it, Bob, but we don't have to tear the road up.
So I'm gonna call city proper, Gilmore City, I'm gonna have them come out and dig the road up and solve this problem. And they're gonna dig down and they find a tile. Now what happens? It's flood. Are you gonna tear the rest of the road up 200 feet south and hook the 2 tile back up again?
No, because we don't have to.
It's a DD2 problem because it was caused by this new tile going through.
But we still don't have to hook that tile up, because it's the secondary roads right away, and they say, we don't need that tile, we've abandoned that tile, so we don't need to hook it up, because
Okay.
it's not on your property.
So because of the tile not being hooked back up again, it caused this problem to happen.
True.
So if I come out in your front yard of your house and cut the tile that drains your basement, you're gonna have a problem in your basement.
But there's a tile there. and it goes from my property to yours. This didn't go from the secondary roads onto your property. If it did, that'd be different.
This follows along underneath secondary road all the way then, okay? And when you don't hook that tile up, what happens? Eventually that tile has to have an outlet somewhere. It has to come out. It can't set full forever. Where's it go?
Yeah, it's abandoned.
It is now. It is now because it got cut and now hooked back up again.
I look at a project we just did last year. We had actually the old Highway 10. We had a tile underneath the road running the shoulder. We dug it up multiple times over the last 20 years. We decided we're not gonna fix it no more. We told them, don't hook to that tile. And actually, they were hooked, ran out into their field, and they'd had a wet hole. They'd come to us, you gotta fix your tile.
You pick this up from
And
here.
we said, we cannot keep fixing this, we're
Right
abandoning
here.
this tile.
How come I didn't have a problem 5 or 6 years ago? Now I do.
We tied them into it.
Well, just like I say, even if it was missed, they don't have to hook them up.
This is the one
That's what I'm saying, it's someone's private tile.
This,
Oh, okay.
this.
The neighbor can't make the other neighbor hook up his tile.
When there's a
That's right.
16
The problem is, Bob, we're setting a precedent.
When you
There's
go...
no evidence that there was a tile there.
Mhm.
If we're going by if there was a tile there. And if there was a tile there, I'd be more on their
Right
side.
here.
I'll go out and dig we'll go dig the road up.
You can't.
Yes, I can. It's city proper to the middle of the road. All I have to do is city permission to go dig the road up.
Don't dig past the middle, or you need a county permit to dig.
That's right. If you want the road dug up, I'll get permits from the city to go out and dig it up and prove it. If you have to prove it, then I'm gonna come back, I'm gonna put you 2 or 3 years worth of crop loss out there on top of the bill for the whole thing, on top of this whole project. So then you're not talking just a couple thousand, then you're talking $5,000 to $10,000.
What your neighbors will pay for.
I don't care. It's a problem. There's gonna be way more problems than this. We got a problem down in Gary Naysville right now, that the old DD2 line is collapsed. Sucked hole. And it caused the rest of all DD2, the old line system, to be slowed all the way down. I think it's an old
Rick?
tile and it's collapsed, and we may have
I
to
like-
replace that old process.
I like Rick's pretty good explanation at the get-go of this, and I appreciate Bob and Lawrence. I'm also familiar with the other past this issue, problem, but there was issues when this was installed,
Oh, yeah.
period.
Oh, yeah.
And I use this as, what we're probably, I'm sure, because of Lawrence and Bob being here and in that district, we're gonna talk about some other ones caused by this same problem, or problems caused by this same project. And whether it's in either these gentlemen's field or somebody else's in that district, out in the field, say they missed a tile connection or they hooked it up improperly when the project went through, and you're gonna, obviously, your proof is gonna be there because they're gonna dig down and maybe the tile is collapsed or they didn't hook the hookup correct. And it's a problem, and you can see it, the district has, that goes back and it's gonna be repaired. I'm equating this to something got screwed up when this project was put in, and I think, Rick, that's what you mentioned, you know.
Too bad that company's bankrupt.
It is too bad, but, and it's too bad they did it.
Yeah.
It's too bad that that contractor installed this. I mean, but there again, we can't change the past, but we can move forward in the future. There's issues. I consider this one of the issues. And I, for one, don't want Bob or anybody else tearing up the road, spending good money for no reason, when if it's a relatively reasonable cost share fix, the way I look at it. We could nitpick, Dave did some figuring on the, amount. It is something, I believe, caused by the installation of this tile.
Incompetency.
Rick?
It could have affected the groundwater. Another thing is, it looks like that road ditch could be shaped to drain south. And with the disturbance from the project and Bob's driveway there, it doesn't get south. So, several things enter in. Did the project caused the wet spot, we'll never know. But likelihood of at least disturbing the groundwater or the subsurface water movement absolutely would have affected that.
Maybe the $2,700 make the problem go away.
Well, you
Because
know,
of the incompetency of the contractor.
Yeah, I don't know how that comes out
the
figuring.
the figuring on this was basically distance-wise from coming up from the 14 and one of the branches along the road.
You get that?
Including the backing to find the fiber optic cable, digging underneath the fiber optic cable and the two connections.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yep, it's all spelled out, but it was come up and go,
They made an L shape,
yep.
that's what it is.
Yeah, and this,
I don't like it, 'cause we're kinda not following the drainage laws. But I really do believe you, Bob.
We have past history on this, gentlemen, I have.
I do.
I mean, I think you have to look at every-
We had a 10-inch tile on my farm that we dug up, that had a 5-gallon bucket in it. The neighbor dug up a tile and it had a coverall shoved in it.
Oh, I know.
There's another one that had a tin can shoved in it right at the get-go of the thing and caused major damage for the 72-inch pipe to begin with. So this contractor, we have shady to begin with. I
And I have-
didn't use the name.
knowledge of problems past what you just mentioned that we're gonna address, I'll bet, while you guys are here. Every project is different. Unfortunately, this one happens to be extremely poor, given many examples. Taking that history, the fact that this was corrected, well, you can see this particular part of it, for this particular amount of money, it's just gonna be one thing down the line. Unfortunately, it's not Bob's fault, it's not Lawrence's, it's not anybody in the district. Shabby contracting, shabby installation has caused a lot of problems in this
This was
district.
brought to the attention a year ago. It was brought again this year. You know, I solved the problem because I didn't want to go again. I've got 2 years of crop loss already. Even 200 bushel corn at $3, that's $600 an acre I've lost out there in this project. It doesn't take long to pay for this tile itself. So that's why it's done. I can't wait to afford to do it anymore. So whatever you decide, you go with what you have to do, and we'll go according to the opposite.
Well,
So you're looking for 50% of this cost here, is this the,
No, I'm looking for that cost.
you're looking for that cost? Okay.
That's my proposal at this point in time. And that's up to you guys, that's why I put the proposal. This is what the contractor told me to solve the problem would do.
I just seen on the agenda, it said cost share, that's why I was wondering. I didn't-
well, as I look at
If
this,
you want a cost share, I got the bill for $25,000 for the rest of the project. If you want a cost share, the rest of the project.
Well, see,
that's right.
that's why I don't like opening this can, 'cause there's just gonna be could be other possibilities.
Yeah.
Well, I understand that can't, okay? But what happens if I actually go out there and do prove that there was a tile there that was never connected back up going south on that road that should have been, and then there's water flowing come out of that tile, then what are we gonna do then? We still have-
Wasn't our deal out here on the high school blacktop, wasn't that because the tile was just disintegrating and it was?
It was full of sand.
Yeah.
It was laid like a snake and it's filled full of sand, and we told them, don't hook to it, we're not gonna fix it anymore, so don't hook to it, and they went through the field at their expense. And that's when we knew there was a tile here. This proposal, we don't even know there is a tile, that's the unknown.
It's an unknown,
Same road.
but if you knew or you didn't know, Bob isn't asking to hook up to this tile. He never did, he never wanted to.
That's right.
But I say it's an issue quite potentially caused by the installation of the DD2 lat I tile that can be resolved. If I was to make a motion, and I believe that I will, all things considered, I would make a motion for a 50% cost share of this bill. And of all the discussion, I think we've had it, I think if we have any more, we're just gonna rehash
Yeah,
this
we're gonna
particular
rehash.
question. My motion would be a cost share from District 2, Lat I, 50% cost share of the bill that's in front of us.
I'd second that motion to try to get the problem go away.
All right, we have a motion and a second for 50% of the $27.80.
Yes.
That's your...
Yep, I got my explanation about where it went, how it went, so I'd be 50% of the bill in front of us.
Everybody's gotta share some of that shoddy contractor's problem.
Yeah, and I think we'd have a better and different recourse if Carl's mention of the shoddy contractor was still around. There is no shoddy contractor still around, so I think it's just a fair way to go.
All right, we have a motion and a second for 50% of the 278020. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Who was
Motion.
for? Was everybody for?
Those three.
Correct.
Not me.
I would be against it also. Motion carries.
Rick, got anything else?
Yeah, minor things. We're working on intake locations for sub-5, PD11.
Yeah.
And
You missed your buddy.
Yes, we
Can we go
missed.
back to 82?
We will. Yes, I think we can after, that's why I wanted to see the more pressing stuff here.
I had calls from a couple of landowners with questions. Clifford Helen was having trouble deciding where he would like the tees. I told him we could look at the ground elevations and make a decision on that if he wanted. I'm hoping he maybe comes in yet.
Has anybody put in notes on there?
I don't see any marks on the map.
We just got one
Just got one.
She's got one.
Okay,
this morning.
did you send out notice on that to the landowners?
Yes, it is.
Okay, because I've told the landowners,
Both of these people
What's your
said, I got a letter from Trish.
good.
So-
And, yes, go ahead with your, I mean, this is all the same thing I wanted.
Yeah, we need to get these locations figured out so that we can get the right size of tees ordered. Now, we had 4 along there where we were putting clean water area drains in, and we're still gonna do that. I think that will lessen the need for the intakes, but the intakes will take care of the rush of surface water. We struggle with that because they're trying to eliminate these inlets.
That's
Surface
what I told
wise.
Dave Hunter
Rick-
earlier, I says that
You made
that's
a,
the new engineering is to keep the water cleaner.
you made a salient point.
That's right.
You did.
Yeah, that's the idea. is
Can
to-
I, on those subsurface things, and Rick mentioned, you know, why they're looked at, yet it's a subsurface, I mean, and then, so it's not in the way, and it's
Right.
a little cleaner
Yes.
than top
Definitely
surface.
cleaner.
You've had some experience since they've been doing this. They do take water rather quickly.
Yes. DD 125, there northeast of Gilmore, it was either 4 or 5 of these we put in. And I was worried the next spring that we'd be hear from every landowner that they weren't taking the water fast enough. Knock on wood, not a single call, then or since.
So, maybe a wrong perception because of the subsurface versus the old school intake, that, oh, that's not gonna do anything. They actually do work.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
Do they have a buffer strip around them then?
That's what I'd like to see, but you really don't have any pull
You don't
to
have
do
any
that.
authority to do it,
No.
but we could
Yeah.
hope that
And the
they,
district could pay it for an easement around them, to make it more encouraging of people to do it.
well, 99 out of 100 farmers are the biggest conservationists we have.
Yes.
They're not the ones out that are trying to destroy, and they do their damnedest to make sure that, you know, they're gonna be able to pass it on to their kids. So
Yes.
they wanna do whatever they can do, so, that, I don't think we wanna wait until the end and say, well, could we do that?
Right.
Dave was a little upset that this wasn't engineered into the beginning part when, well, we all are learning on this, we're trying to,
And I explained to him why they engineer the subsurface things, is because that's the way the engineers are instructed to do it.
That's right, we are.
My point is, they do work.
Oh, yes.
And I don't argue with the premise of cleaner grass and that. That's maybe an option, but let's not drag that into it at this point.
no, I know, but I'm just saying, that helps filter the water. You're doing one, but you can't do the other if you don't have some type of filter there.
And
Right.
The guy's farming up with the 6 inches of the intake.
Yeah, it really doesn't help the
No.
matter.
Well, that's a good point, but the gist of it is that I think you've had 3 district total expense intakes now replanned.
Yes.
And then we have our request for input.
Tile connections.
Connections, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the question from one of the landowners of why this wasn't from the get-go, I don't know. I mean, but Rick also said that this is not a surprise. I've never seen a
No.
project talked about at length any more than this
We had
one.
almost a year of this.
So if you wanna talk about public disclosure and ample time for the input, they have that.
Well, the other side of the coin is the tile isn't in the ground, and now we're going back and dig it up and put T.
Right, it's not like,
So we've made a change, well, hopefully it's gonna be for the
I think
best.
it's very positive, 'cause like you said, Bruce, it's not that you can't, do you have any issue getting,
No, and I've talked to the contractor a couple times about it, he just needs to know what to order, 'cause you need to order the
The right
size of the
size.
main tile, and then what size do you want the T coming off. The advantage of the coming off side is that it's usually made so you can hook up different sizes of tile to it, depending on where you
Just
cut it
kinda
off.
cones down.
Yes, steps down, larger, smaller.
so this, yeah, like Bruce said, the big thing is, it's not that we have to go dig something up to
No.
fix it. It's not even in the ground. You don't see any issue as long as this is known prior to the installation.
And a couple of these sizes, we already have, bid price for them, so.
And is the supply of getting
The contractor says that Frisco will make these for them in time to use them.
Okay.
So we
So there'll be
wanna,
no hold up there.
right, no hold up there.
I just asked Trish if her letter had a date that...
Yeah, do you have a time, you good, 'cause you have a time frame on,
I thought we gave him a
Well,
date.
that's what I thought, but
Like,
I didn't wanna say that out loud without
I
her
thought we
getting
did.
blared at.
I think we did put a date on it.
Pretty
on that
sure.
letter.
You know the look, don't you?
what are you talking
That
about?
That look there, lady.
It was like GPS, so we need to locate them in the future.
Oh, absolutely. And we're gonna have the contractor put something there so the landowner knows immediately where it is, and they can pull that, and we'll have a GPS location anyway, so.
and I believe a lot of these landowners that request and mark in the connection are going to immediately have the contractor install them an intake. So they will be paying for the intake, the district will be paying for the connection.
Yep, both of these people said, well, we'll probably have the contractor do it while he's there.
Just don't want anyone falling through the cracks, we don't
No.
want this done, and someone come back and say, I didn't know about it.
And I will tell you, there may be a location or two that we put them in that haven't been requested, just because it makes so much sense.
That would be fine, because they will
A few $100,
survey, you had a question already on, I'm not sure.
yeah.
I've been there, done that with a landowner in a different district. Well, I want an intake, I don't know where.
Yeah.
I know who you're talking
I don't know where, but I'm not gonna come out and show you where, but,
But I-
long story short,
I want it put in the right spot, but I'm not...
but I'm not gonna tell you the right spot. So the contractors did the survey and said, this is the right spot, and
Yeah.
installed the intake.
Oh, yeah, with their laser, they can,
Just don't want this cropped up a year after the completion of this project.
right.
What
Want it done now.
shot at, Dave said that they're supposed to start this week, but there's also water backed up for several miles, so there's...
Obviously, there must be a lot of water sitting out there in the...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, our guy's Jordan, he gave me pictures of the road, second road you come to, I think. Lots and lots of water on both sides, 'cause we're talking in the office about working with contractors. As a matter of fact, I'll let you guys know, but my note to myself for today was to call Frisco and the contractor and arrange for a meeting to talk through installation methods, because they're gonna be battling water.
Oh, for the love.
Yeah.
When you're high enough and you can look across and see the water in the fields after some guys take headlines off, it's sad.
It is really sad, so I'm hoping to get that meeting scheduled this week, and I'll let you know when that is if you wanna sit in.
Please do.
At least have Trish or somebody send out an email or something that
Yep.
we should have one or two that'll be there.
I'll be there.
Good,
just let me know.
yep, I will definitely let you know.
I just question even the ability to start on that project. I guess you could start on it because there's a bulkhead installation and things like that, but you know what the conditions are. Bruce just said there's water out there, physically water.
Yeah, and when you get to that
How do you do
spot,
that?
then all that water drains into
What do you
the
do?
pipe and it sucks dirt in and then
Yep.
geez,
We've been through that on the other one, not,
nightmares.
yeah. I just, so yeah, good that you're getting
Well,
together
we
with
still
them.
may have a dry fall,
Wouldn't that be nice?
drier than what we've had, so
Okay, I'll let you know when that meeting is.
I'm optimistic, yes, I keep hoping.
I had looked at, DD6 lateral A ditch east of town with Kenny
Kenny.
Nielsen. And I texted him last week and just said, to get something going forward, he should, request a work order.
He's done that.
He did then?
Mhm.
Okay, 'cause I texted him last week. Okay,
Yeah, he's, just a work order.
yeah. Just be an hourly clean out, probably down to the first road. Now, I haven't done it yet, but I'm gonna check the capacity of the pipe under Roosevelt on that same ditch, 'cause I'm just, it appears to be small. And Kenny had said there's rumors that it was installed too high too. We'll get that checked, so we have the old plans for 6, so we can check that. And I'll just let you know. Not part of the project at this point, but just something we'll do when we're in the area.
Have you heard anything on, your contractor over there off the Fort Blacktop with their pole that's propped up? I
no.
see the farmer got
They
the
got the corn out.
corn out, so we have the
Talked to the-
ability to at least get a machine in there if it ever dries up enough that
Yep.
he thinks he can do
I
that.
talked to the power company again, and they're gonna have a truck
Someone
on
on
site
site.
holding it physically. And Scott Peterson, said that he had a contract job he was finishing up, and as soon as conditions allowed, then he would plan to do that repair.
Well, they'll have to relocate that, won't they?
I think so.
I mean,
The power,
911, or 811. They have to, after,
No.
I thought after so many days.
Well, the
that they
wires
were
are hanging
down.
out in the open, so there's no locate, you can physically see them.
Okay,
yeah, they're visible.
well, I'm
Yeah.
sure Scott knows
Yeah, he knows the routine and is good about it.
well, I
Yeah.
just don't want that thing hanging out there and waiting through the winter.
Oh, yeah, that's,
I know. Yeah, the last thing Scott told me was that he was finishing up a contract job and that was next. So, I would hope this week, depending on how he was able to work
I
last
drove by
week.
it just the other day and looked at it, it hasn't changed any. Looks the same as it did.
I haven't had the guts to drive down the gravel, I've seen it from the blacktop.
I think what's happening with it is the wires are all straight on through that location, and there's poles each direction, so I think the wires are actually helping hold that pole up.
Yeah, keep the pole from, they do have a brace pole on it.
Yeah, and that's probably all it's gonna take
The
temporarily.
wires holding up the pole, but they are on it. It's, the conditions allow, they're,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Good.
Our company and the contractor's aware, so. They're making good progress out on 35 Branch C now into better soil conditions.
Did they do the, up on the road, I see you moved up there last week, did they do something up by that?
I
I
don't,
thought they'd put a box or something, they had a
well, they're
road
going they're going to put a box on the north side of the road there.
I wondered if he didn't
Junction
do
box
that.
with an intake.
Maybe he
I
just
didn't think
unloaded
you
it.
were, I'll bet that's
I
the
bet they
case.
just, he
Yeah.
tracked up there, 'cause I saw him up there, I've been hauling on Laverne, so
Oh,
I've been watching, and they've moved the machine up there and unloaded. I thought maybe he'd done it,
I don't think so. I
but they
think
were
they're-
back down in the middle of
Yeah,
the field
they're
then the
waiting to
next
get up
day.
there to install, to connect to it. And, we talked to them about the type of grate we want on there. It's gonna be a welded rebar grate with 6-inch openings. So the big stuff can't get in there, but, small stuff can just go right on through.
Attached?
Um,
Well, we have
Yeah.
issues with
I know.
them being able to
But we
unhook it so
usually-
that it can flush.
yeah,
We still don't have that,
I know. I was
Attached.
just thinking maybe we should have them make two.
yeah,
Yes,
Well, they're
I agree.
because when
Who
they,
makes-
when it plugs
who makes the
with
grate?
corn
contractor,
stalks, it just easy to push it off to the side and
and leave
then
it
it
off.
drains, and then,
Yeah, we have different ways. The one I've seen lately was get an eye bolt into the concrete structure and then a cable holding to the, rebar grate, so. We haven't asked them to do anything like that on this, but I'm sure they would be willing to do it.
Well, see if they have any ideas of how they've done ones in the past.
Good idea.
Could have a tin whistle come up with some holes in it too to help hold the stuff away from it. Okay. Are you done?
I'm done, I think.
Okay, Bob wanted
You
to...
got something else?
DD two, there's a work order probably out in Gary Nave's field. If not, there needs to be one. There's the old tile line on DD two, that evidently it looks like it blew out, forced water to go out and then suck hole back down, probably about the size of your table you're sitting on. I think there's something with that, with the old tile line, that it probably caused slower drainage all the way through the rest of the old DD two. Because it's probably like the tile line you talked like last week, where you have that star pattern, you have the top and the bottom, the two sides, and part of this little tile probably collapses, and when it does, it slows down the water flow, and you just have issues, and then it plugs it up and it has to blow out, and I think that's probably what this old line, it got disturbed when the new line was hooked up to it, and we're just having issues again, and it's just...
I'm not so sure we weren't out on that secondary roads.
I don't think so.
This is the tile line Gary came in and talked about a year ago, that the water runs backwards. It goes the opposite direction because it's not hooked up, he doesn't think, in the field to the east, and it comes back underneath the road and then goes into the new tile system. And that seems to be running backwards fine right now. Just the water, the rest of the way up above, you can go up to the next intake up along the gravel road, and water is blowing out of that again. And usually it sucks down that hole, and it wasn't this time. So I think there's something in the field, once again, probably a collapsed tile or broken tile or real close to this hole or something again.
So, do we have a location on that?
Yeah.
Eric was out there.
Yeah,
And he seen the problem, he was out and spent about an hour out there.
Yeah, there's a big hole, there's a small hole, well, there again, it's related, it's the same problem. I made a note to myself, there's a huge intake installed in the ditch when they put in the new new main. There's what appears to me, probably a fiber optic cable exposed by that intake.
There is.
Something's not quite right there. I think there's another intake further to the south of the one I'm referencing. It's an older intake. There's something not quite right with that intake.
Oh, what's the around through the base on that?
This is conjecture, and this is just something that's gotta be dug up and checked. The small hole could be, I don't know, could be a poor installation into the main tile from the big intake they put in. There's a smaller hole. There's a damn big hole. This table and another one would probably fit in it. Further out, and this is in Mr. Nave's field. It just has to be explored, and there's no crop. He did get that crop out a little earlier, so sooner than later. We got the work order on it, and that I saw personally, there's at least 4 separate issues, the 2 main ones being what the heck's going on with that tile. And I did see what that tile drains, which happens to be through part of Bob's, Davis's, some other landowners in that area. It is not draining. I mean, it's just, like, would you say backed up? I mean, just sitting.
It might be slowly, it might have...
It's very...
You know, it might have 5 or 10, 20% of it, who knows?
It's
Not
very
100%.
slow, something is definitely wrong, and...
It's been that way most...
Mention was made, and Bob could maybe, one landowner explained that this line is still intact, it's hooked into the new line, and the new line alleviated a lot of the acres that the old line used to drain, and yet the old line is draining slower than it ever did. So, there's something going on that's pretty evident, it needs to be checked out, and there's, like I said, 4 things that I saw personally, those 2 intakes. The one that's real concern is whoever is served by that fiber optic probably that needs to be fixed right away. And then those
It might
problems.
just be a toll cable too, right there, because used to be a building site there, it could just be a phone line cable.
Okay, it might...
I don't know.
But you don't like to see something like that exposed, and and that intake needs some attention, the other intake needs some attention, and something needs to be determined out in that field, 'cause it is having an effect on that tile line, there's no doubt. And it should be able to get somebody on that, hopefully
So
this
they have a
fall.
work order, but it's not on this sheet.
Would've just got the work order, I think.
Oh, it's just a recent one. Okay.
Just today I heard about it.
Oh, okay.
Yep, so it's,
And
yeah,
Gary told me it was probably a couple weeks ago or a week ago that everything was working fine and he had billed us cement.
Well, then that's must've been how I heard it, because I swore I heard somebody was out there digging, exploratory dig on it, so.
there's nothing that I've seen done out there, anywhere.
Marshall,
Earlier this
wasn't
summer.
Marshall out there a year ago and fixed
Yeah.
part of the problem in that
Yes.
same area, I think it was?
Yes.
Okay.
So I think something in that same area, and, you know, if the old tile system's bad, like you said, it used to just be cracking.
It could be that,
All
it-
the way back, or it could be something else, I don't know.
Could be the wrong connection, it could be a lot of things, but it should be, the good part of it is that you should be able to figure out what it is by exploratory digging.
Well, if the hole's that big, the water's gotta be going some direction, somewhere in it. Well, it wouldn't be sucking on
I
that
think-
much dirt in there if it isn't moving. Unless it's got it plugged now.
Well, something's plugged. I mean, it's something that's goofed up. We're gonna have to get, Rick should have the plans on where the connection of that, I believe it's still a 30-inch tile.
The old one.
The old one in that area would be 30-inch, I believe.
Probably.
Bigger than
Goes over-
24.
Goes over probably the 48 or 54 inch.
So somewhere in there, there's an old tile that was connected to the new tile, and I wouldn't surprise, I don't know, I mean,
The
there's a
old-
big hole, there's a little hole. Could be bad connections.
Right.
Could be bad connections, like Bob said, could be old tile collapsing, but it's gotta be checked out, because it's affecting that entire tile line, is the point of it.
1,000 inches.
Yeah. Thanks, sir.
We'll get going then.
Thank you.
Okay, nothing else in drainage, I'd entertain a motion.
Motion to go out of drainage?
Motion?
Second.
And a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Out of drainage. 10:12.
2-minute recess and transition.